here. He's just brought me my drink. We're having different drinks this evening because we're not actually drinking alcohol tonight. We normally do, but we've had a bit of a change, so we're not going to be having any alcohol this evening. Tonight we're going to be talking with Mr. Coleman about a topic that's very relevant in modern cars.
Yes.
We were talking about this earlier on. Actually, Mr. Quirr from Planet Auto and I were talking about this afternoon as well. We're going to talk about wet belts, and we've actually got a used wet belt on the floor here, which we'll go and pick up in a moment, so you can have a look at it. I'm just going to bring up the live stream on here so that we can keep track of the comments on things. So wet belts is something that, well, it's very, very relevant today because there are three very popular petrol engines that are in a lot of modern cars, specifically the 1 litre TSI engine from Volkswagen Group. There's tons of cars, like big and small. The second one that...
Are we frozen?
I don't know, sir. No, I've paused it here.
Oh, okay.
I paused it, otherwise it doesn't work very well. So specifically we have the 1 litre TSI engine, which is a Volkswagen one. Then we have the 1.2 PureTech engine that used to be PSA but is now in a lot of standard things.
Yeah.
In fact, I think what is a car that it's sort of a bit never used to be?
Corsa?
No, it's the new Lancia. Lancia Upsilon. Yeah, that's it. It's got one of those. There we go. So we've got it here. Excellent. Oh, right. Richard Hart says, "Good evening, chaps. Good evening, sir." Julian Knight says, "Greetings from Hamburg." Greetings.
Hamburg?
Yes, from Hamburg. Yes, sir. And then Sean Cook says, "What a lovely surprise." It's a nice surprise to see you as well, sir. So yes, we've got some drinks of choice. Mr. Coleman's got a lychee drink. It's very nice. And this is
not coming over all vegan or anything, or dye my hair blue, so don't worry, it'll be fine.
No, we've got salted caramel milkshakes, sir, so I don't think so.
It looks like Horlicks.
Grumpy Talk says, "Good evening." That's quite nice. I don't know if it's as nice as Chocobo. I know you like Chocobo, Mr. Coleman.
Chocolate, yeah, I'll give that a go in a bit.
Yeah, you like it, don't you?
Yeah.
Grumpy Talk says, "Good evening." Good evening to you as well.
Good evening.
So as Mr. Quirk and I were discussing, obviously, there is a wet belt which is very common. We can't talk about, obviously, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't talk about that particular one. I know some of you will be saying, like, what about that one? We can't talk about that. But the PureTech, which is in a ton of cars. I mean, there is some discussion that Mr. Coleman sometimes have, is the PureTech engine or the Prince engine actually worse? Because PSA is still using a variant of the Prince engine in a lot of the plug-in hybrid cars, 1.6s. So, yeah. That's a debate for maybe tonight as well. But so there's that one. There's also the 1 litre 1.5 Honda Civic Mark X engines that are made from 2017 to 2022. I would personally say with the Civics, buy a 9 or an 11. Don't buy a 10.
Yeah.
Particularly because on the 10s, like one I drove, which is it's a funny looking thing. The entertainment system is one of the worst I've ever used actually on the pre-faced Mark X Civic. I'd go straight for an 11 if you can with the, which looks nice as well. They look nice, don't they? The new ones, they're beautiful cars. I'd go for one of those, and then of course the Ford EcoBoom engine. We'll start with this, as that's what we've actually got here. So the EcoBoom engine was introduced around 2011, 2012. It's one of the first ever wet belt engines, I think.
Yeah.
I can't remember what on earth a wet belt engine's supposed to give you over the normal one. I can't really work that out.
It was supposed to be more efficient, create less mechanical drag, for emissions and fuel cost savings and all that kind of stuff, but it really, really didn't work. And there was a bit of a wet belt hidden in some of the Forbidden Fuel Transit Connect engines.
Oh, we don't talk about those, sir.
No, but they were not too bad. But you could, when the belt needed doing on those engines, you just buy one for an early focus and put a chain on it. Done.
Yeah. So obviously, a lot of you will know that recently it was a last-minute substitution, but we had another Fiesta Mark VII on the channel. It was a beautiful condition one. It was perfect. It had done low mileage, and there was nothing wrong with it. Nothing at all. For a 1.25 ZTEC Fiesta from 2013, it's perfect. And that's got the very famous Zetec SE or Duratec or Sigma engine in it. Dates back to 1995. It was coded up with Yamaha, and you could get the EcoBoom or the Zetec SE engine all the way through to Mark 7, right until the end.
Yeah.
The last car that ever used that engine, I think, was the Ford Ka Plus until 2018, when they replaced it with a car that actually, an engine that actually is a variant of this one. It's 1.1 or something in the Fiesta, and Ka Plus it's 1.2, and that also exists. The 1.1 engine is the non-turbo. It's really rare that I don't used to know many cars with that in. The ones we're looking at are the 1 litre ones, and they range from I think 79 horsepower to about 155. Like it's a huge range of engines. I imagine maybe the ones in like the current Puma, which like 155 horsepower or more, something of them. Those are probably even worse than the lower power ones. There's one more strength. But we've got a bit on before. Mr. Coleman will hold us up in a second. There's 2 belts in the pre-2019 versions of this engine. We've got the normal wet belt, and then the oil pump belt in this. Yeah. And to this day, if you go into a showroom and buy yourself, like the Puma that I tested recently, which also had one of these engines in it, it won't have one of these time belts in it. What we'll have will be a chain on the 2019 and onwards. When the Puma came out, they actually changed the engine, but you'll still have this oil pump belt in there. We'll explain in a moment why that might be a problem. So I'll just pass this to Mr. Coleman. It's on the floor here. I'm not going to actually touch this with my hand, but I have, and it's very, very greasy. So he's going to show you that. So it's here. We can see it's in a little packet.
Yep.
This was off a 2016 Ford Fiesta that has done 47,000 miles.
It's the oil pump belt. We'll come to that in a minute.
Yeah, they're still the same now. And you've never seen a wet timing belt before. Here we go. There is a wet timing
kind
belt.
of what they look like. They look basically just like a conventional timing belt. And I have doused this off with brake cleaner and all that kind of stuff, but it's still oozing Castrol 520 at me. So, yeah, this EcoBoost wet belt. This come out of a 2016 Fiesta 1 litre. It's an original belt, it's never been replaced, and it had done 47,000 miles. Now, this engine was serviced on the dot with the correct grade of oil, Ford spec, filter, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, this belt's in a bit of a sad state, and it was replaced 2 years before Ford recommended it. So, yeah. What I do is, how these belts start to degrade is the external face, not the tooth side, the external face will start to crack and craze. And if I bring that up to
I don't know if it will show very well on here, but it is definitely cracked.
Yeah, it's all cracked and crazed, and this is the part that creates all of we call it caviar in the trade, and that's what blocks the oil pump up. And when that happens, it's a slow process, but as the belt degrades, let me flip it inside out, as the belt degrades, it starts to fray and chunk and cut itself all over the place, and the teeth will start to rip off. See that? Now these belts, because they're running oil, they have on the tooth side of it, they have a Teflon coating, and it's not impervious to oil, and yeah, it just creates a right mess. And this is basically a 47,000 mile wet belt, which is, to be fair, still in half decent nick, if you want to call it that, but that's what they look like. So have a think, give me some questions. I'm going to move on to the next.
The problem is with this is that what I believe it was the case, and if I'm wrong, there was supposed to be a 150,000 mile belt left on this in 10 years.
That's right.
So 8 years and 47,000 miles, this is the condition of the belt now. It's just as well it's been replaced because, well, Mr. Quirk and I were discussing this earlier on. He's had 2 cars where catastrophic engine failure is caused because the oil doesn't get to the engine.
No.
In this case, if your belt goes and degrades, you block the oil feed pipe and then you get no oil, and then 20 seconds you've got to
Yeah, you've
turn
got
the engine
literally
off.
got 20 seconds to notice the oil light and then to switch it off
Yeah.
because it'll just lose oil pressure
Mm.
and basically you'll rattle the crank out of it. So end of.
Funnily enough, with the PureTech engines, they have actually a different problem from this. This is more likely you'll block the oil feed pipe eventually. The strainer will get blocked up, and then you've got no oil going in.
Yeah.
The PureTech engines just tend to snap.
Yeah, the PureTech engines just tend to snap. They do degrade in a similar way, but the PureTech engine's belt is a lot wider than what this is, and it can handle the temperatures and the oil a lot better, and it's under a lot less tension than what these Ford belts are.
But of course, someone's already pointing out here. We'll get to some of the comments in a moment, but someone's quite correct. It's from 2019 onwards, when the Puma was introduced, they changed the design of the engine.
Yeah.
So you still have this.
They did change the design
belt, but you have a chain rather than that. So that problem is gone.
Yeah.
But
This problem. Hey, oh, what's going on here?
I don't know. Maybe it's frozen or something. Oh. I don't know. The rest of you actually hear what's going on, or is it stopped? I don't know what's going on there. It's glitched out or something.
Yeah.
Okay. That is properly weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's totally.
It crashed.
I don't know actually what's happened to that, to be honest. Right. That is.
We'll start again then, shall we?
Yeah. That's glitched out.
You want to bring your Wi-Fi in here?
Yeah, that might be better.